Go. Here we go. Bottom left, we have Gumiho. I know you've been waiting over 2 years, and it's finally happening next week. And in the top right, we have Trigger. This could be a good match. This could be a good match. Trigger has it in him. It's a good clash of styles as well. So Trigger is a very macro-oriented, growth-oriented, defensive Protoss. He's a spiritual successor to stats. He's like the NA stats, okay? Gumiho is a very aggressive, fast, loose TVP player. He prefers Marines to Marauders. Not many people are like that. Yeah. Let's see. Of course, that doesn't mean he's not going to make Marauders or something, but like you see a lot of Marine-based attacks from Gumiho in this matchup. All right, so very standard expansion here. Goes for the core first for Trigger. It's kind of a stylistic difference. And it is going to be from Gumiho. He's going to go ahead and throw down his factory after his Reaper. You know what I'm finding annoying, actually? When I'm looking at the production tab, the Terran buildings are all blue. Isn't that kind of funny? They have like blue highlights on all of them. I never noticed that before. But I was looking at it, I'm like, huh. He's actually read this game, but it shows all his buildings as blue. Weird. Literally unplayable. Can't tell what's going on here. Okay, so actually going reactor to Reapers here. This is going to be interesting from Gumiho. So he is making some more Hellions, but more focusing heavily on this Reaper production at the moment. And he is going to be able to kill this Adept, and that was like perfectly done there from Gumiho, just keeping everything alive. And honestly, with 3 Reapers, like, watch this. This is kind of cool, right? Because you see Trigger starting to wall up. I think he knows what is something that could happen here. This is something that I think TY was really the first guy that it was TY or Beyond. I'm trying to remember. But you can basically just run up with your grenades and bounce goons out of the wall and run in with Hellions. It's like a hilarious strat. But look at this. He made a full wall. Or, no, he didn't. Okay. I was like, why did he stand so far back then? And you can see that Gumiho is actually getting some pretty significant damage. 5 probes, losing 2 Hellions so far. 6 probes. Look at this, splits one of them off. That was super damage. Gonna get one more, it looks like. But that's gonna be it. Maybe one more grenade? No. But 7 probes overall. I think that was good from Gumiho. I'm surprised with how Trigger made this second gate, which allowed 2 holes, and he stepped back. That's why I was like, wait, is this like some sort of full wall? What's going on here? Kind of weird. That was kind of a weird way for Trigger to do it. Now Gumiho going across the map here. Tank and 4 Marines in this medevac. Like I said, he is more Marine focused a lot in this matchup. Oh, okay, so I see something actually very interesting in the chat. Someone says they really like that opener TVT, but think you might need more damage in the, for it in this matchup. I think the damage was fine. You just have to realize that you actually have to sit back a little bit more defensively, especially if they're doing something like a more aggressive blink build. This particular game, you see This is what Trigger does all the time, which is 2-gate blink third base. He can't really be aggressive with this. So even though a lot of the early production time was spent to make those Hellions and Reapers, and he lost them, it doesn't really matter because this is such a defensive play from Trigger. So Gumiho can actually play it pretty straight and pretty normal from here. But it's a good insight that you had there, whether or not that was going to be enough for this particular matchup, because it's not an opener that you see here as much. But yeah, I would say in these sets of circumstances, this is I'm not disliking Gumiho's position at all. Anyways, the Forest Stalker's up here just kind of poking. Like, the Trigger can't actually get anything done, and he knows it, right? He has a very small group of Stalkers. We have a Raven going across. Going to try to set up an auto turret. Yes, Stalkers are the new goon in StarCraft 2, and if by new you mean 13 years old, then yes, they're the new Dragoon. All right, so good send back there. Does not lose an additional probe. Colossus on the way, getting charge as well, rather quickly on the charge. Based Gumi God over here, getting his third command center going. So, like, this push from Gumiho, it has 2 tanks, 3 Marauder. We're gonna have a second Colossus. Range is not done quite yet. He's trying to slow him down, but Gumiho is, like, not being slowed. Oh, dude. Good Colossus hits right there. So already shaved down, like, 3 Marines. Has a battery up. Okay. Warping in a few Zealots. Ooh, the auto turret here, a little bit annoying. Maybe he's able to get this. Oh, you don't want to be losing those Stalkers. Blinks them away. Tanking a lot there with those Zealots. And a boost into the main base. Ooh, is this going to end up working? Oh, Gumiho actually very slow on that unload, but does end up getting everything out. Even saves that medevac, at least for now. Does end up catching the Raven. That was a good play, though, because a lot of times he is going to pull those goons away, so the Raven might get in and get damage. So I would say that was overall a pretty good hold. The tanks do come up to this third base location, though. Trigger charges in. Does have that overchargers is helping a bit. And he will be able to remove everything. Looks like clean holds all around. Now, that being said, Gumiho himself is actually up by 8 workers, which is pretty substantial. But Trigger is up in army supply at this kind of mid-game location, right? So generally, Terran is up in army supply right now, and Protoss is up in workers. So this might mean that Gumiho is going to have a hard time landing his third. And if he lands his third, Trigger might be able to kill him. So see, this is Gumiho, I think, being a little bit too greedy. He traded a lot of his army for economy, and Trigger didn't really lose army defending that, right? He lost economy defending. So this, I think he might kill him. But Gumiho with the counter drop, he's given himself some options here. Like, if he gets some massive damage there, you never know what's going to end up happening. Look at this, drops in the third. God, he can get a lot of workers. Oh, that was almost amazing. A lot of workers die, but Gumiho does have to GG. So, like, this is a really important thing about StarCraft, okay? Every single game is really, really different, okay? And, like, when you trade army for economy, or economy for army, right? You have to look at that and think this is a different situation. Like I said, most TVPs at that stage of the game, Terran will have an army supply advantage, but a disadvantage in workers. So Gumiho had a great amount of workers, but his army was lower because he did utilize a lot of army to snipe some probes there to get that additional damage. He then landed the command center. So it's like, if Trigger doesn't attack, Gumiho gets way ahead. But every single time in a situation like this, Trigger's going to attack at a high level. At lower levels, a lot of times you're looking at a game and be like, how did I lose this? It's like, well, here you had to attack because your opponent traded army for economy. Thus, you had a bigger army, right? And you can see this across all RTS games. This is like a very general principle. And Gumiho landing that command center is certainly what lost him the game. The game could have been playable still if he stayed back defensively. Anyways, let's go into our next game. Game number 2. Bresvan. All right, top left, we have Gumiho. Bottom right, we have Trigger.
What?
The underscore Jambulance donated $3.33. It's crazy nobody says nice things to you. You've kept our favorite game alive and helped teach new players all about our community. You rock and thank you for everything.
Jambulance. You are too kind, man.
Psych jizz in my rectum, bitch.
Dude. Can't just be nice. Can't just be nice. What does Mrs. Jambulance say about that one? All right, top left. Double gas from Gumi. Bottom right. Trigger going to be going for maybe the Nexus immediately here after the gateway. No, he actually just checks the NAT. So he is actually going to go ahead and make his Cybernex core. The probe going up for the scout. Maybe he's feeling like Gumi may want to do something cheesy aggressive. Bresvan is like a pretty long map. So like you might feel slightly advantaged here as Protoss. So maybe Trigger feels like, oh, you know, we can be pretty safe here. Goes Cybernex core, goes Nexus, scouting. Okay. I mean, nothing crazy going on, whatever. Factory gets started there for Gumi as well. All right, Reaper going to go across the map. We do have that reactor being made on the barracks once again. I think it is going to be reactored Reapers. I think he wants to do the same opener maybe. Honestly, like I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. It seemed like pretty good. We'll see in a second here. But I like the idea behind it. And even the attack he did where he got ahead on workers, it's like I could take it or leave it. Losing the 2 siege tanks felt like the worst part of it because they really weren't doing anything of super value there. Gumiho just really kind of overextending that previous game a little bit. Doing too much at once. You do have to be careful as Terran, even in StarCraft 2. Protoss will be able to kill you. Protoss is certainly a race that can punish. They have the quickest punishes. All right, shield battery going down. Twilight almost done here. Should just be blink 2-gate robo into 3rd. That's like Trigger does at most games. There's the robo. We don't have the blink yet. We should see it in a second, though. I guess there's some chance he throws out a Dark Shrine. I don't know. Okay, decent micro there. Not a lot of units, but the shield battery finishes. That was a good probe there as well. That was excellent defense this time from Trigger. Excellent defense. It does look like it's the same build from Gumiho. Gumiho may just be working on this for like the next GSL or something. Not entirely sure. Whatever tournaments he has coming up. You know, this is a good place to test some of these builds and whatnot. But it looks like it's the same exact thing, right? I think he's going to come across the map with a medevac and a tank and 4 Marines in it, just like he did in the previous game. The last game, like, he ended up killing... How many probes was it? Was it 6 probes or 8 probes? Something like that? It was pretty significant. So anyways, here comes that medevac. Same exact medevac that we saw previously. Third base for Trigger, like previously. We don't see the Colossus tech yet. Feels a little bit late this game for him. Maybe I'm off on that. A little bit out of position for this as well. Drops the tanks off and then blocks with the Marines. That's kind of cool. Blocks with those Marines there. Getting a few tank volleys on the probes. And oh my god, look at this. Look at this. The Hellion doing God's work right there. Oh my god. 7 probes do end up going down. He loses a lot for this, but equalizes that worker count. Right? Looking at that lineup, this looks like it was better for Trigger. I mean, losing 7 probes kind of sucks, but his third base is really quick, so I don't think you really care that much. Trigger going across the map, I don't think he can do any damage with the unit set that he has at the moment. Yeah, I guess the tank up on the high ground. Okay, brings the tank down. Got to siege it just right. You can still harass with that tank right there. You just pull back a little bit more. You can harass the gas on the left. And it looks like he just wants to get out. Does take multiple hits. But you could harass on the left a little bit more and then recall. Or take a shot and blink out. Anyways, in comes the Raven. Throws on that auto turret. Going after some probes. Yeah, Stim combat shield's coming up. Colossi going to be popping out here shortly. Thermal Lance is finally on the way as well. Trigger getting that probe count up to a pretty healthy number. Wants some more, though, for sure. Has a supply block there, unfortunately. Good gateway adds as well. All right, Gumiho getting ready right now for this push. He did this push in the previous game as well, right? +1 combat shields finishing. Here come the Marines. Marauders plus siege tanks. All right, snaps an observer. That's kind of nice. All right, this is the same kind of thing we saw before. In fact, is it 3 Marauders again? Because if I recall correctly, yeah, it was exactly... Dude, Gumiho's like hitting exactly the same build, it looks like, as the previous game. Let's see what he gets done with it this time. Yeah, another auto turret comes down. Does decide to target on probes as opposed to that stalker. Good choice. All right, setting up those mines. Okay, the mines do end up hitting there. The siege tank's trying to get some good volleys off, but it seems like Trigger just has enough, man. Not so sure about this anymore from Gumiho. I guess it's a good learning experience, because we know Gumiho is remarkably good, right? Like, this guy's a GSL champion. He's been in all the big tournaments many, many times, but he just got second to Cyril and Yonkaping, right? Yeah. Is my brain failing me here? Yeah, I'm 99% sure that's correct. Anyways, he is in good shape lately, but honestly, like, watching this build twice in a row, the first time I was like, okay, let's see. This time, like, that attack just didn't really do very much. It's a pretty standard build from Trigger. I don't feel like Gumiho is really adapting, but that can be okay. Sometimes you do need to play games like this and just kind of grind your build out. Like, you shouldn't always adapt to what your opponent is doing. That's actually weak play, right? Like, maybe I'll talk about that actually after this game, because there's some really interesting things about, like, starting to play games and then getting better and figuring out what's what and all this, like controlling / countering things as opposed to attacking, those types of things, right? So, yeah, sorry, my brain is like starting to organize my thoughts on that subject so I can talk about it after the game. Anyways, Trigger right now moving across the map. Oh, very good auto turret harassment here at the back of the main. Really excellent. Trigger's army is incredibly strong right now. He is down 2 upgrades. This is an okay defensive position, but it feels like there might just be too much for Trigger. And in fact, he drags a mine forward even. Yeah, Trigger really stomping here, but this is not Gumiho's best play. It does feel like he was trying to figure out like a new build. You know, and I don't want to take anything away from Trigger for winning 2-0 against Gumiho. That's a great result. But like I've seen like probably actually thousands of Gumiho games, and this is not like, if this was GSL, the games wouldn't have looked like that. You know what I mean? This was, I feel like Gumiho's trying something out here. It's not like Gumiho's just like flustered that like, damn, Trigger's too good. And Trigger is great, and Trigger I think has potential to beat Gumiho when Gumiho's doing his tried and true stuff, but it does feel like he's messing with some stuff here.